Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Property AI Report. This is your weekly digest of all things property and AI, hosted by me, Mal McCallion, and my good friend Matt Goddard. Matt, how are you?
I'm excellent, Mal. I'm in a very jovial mood this morning. I think it's because it's Tuesday, it's early, you've been to the gym, I'm about to go for a run. Let's do it.
Good times, good times. Yes, we are here every week to give you a deep insight into what's going on in the worlds of property and AI. So let's start this week with our property news. All right, this week we are going into the charity sphere where Agents Together, which is one of the big charities in the property sector here in the UK, has moved into a new era with a different chair and various kind of board ambassadors. So it's under the leadership of Vicky Bibiris of Location, somebody who's been very prominent in the industry, a really great person, and somebody who's going to, I think, lead this really well. It's like the great and the good of the industry listed in these ambassadors, isn't it, Matt?
It is in terms of the ambassadors, but just also the wider sphere of the collective is the great and good as well, isn't it? I don't think you talk to many people in the industry who've got time and energy to put back into it who aren't involved in some way with Agents Together. I've been involved as a mentor and over several times, and would class some of the people I've met as friends through it. You do look through that new board, but I'm sure that the people who've been engaged in the past will also be putting their energies back into a really worthwhile cause.
Yeah, it's a hugely powerful kind of idea. It was set up by the late Sarah Edmondson with Michael Bruce back in the early kind of booming days, I think. So a few years ago now. I mean, I think it's been helping so many people along the way. And it's just a really good way of connecting people from various different, from the supplier side through the agent side. So just quickly, we've got people like Michael Day from Integra. We've got Wendy Peterman, Spencer Lawrence, Stephen Brown, Kirsty Franks, Kerry Humphreys, Sam Offley, Verona Frankish, Sam Jones, Chris Watkin, Jenny Barker. So some really, really just good people. Right, good people doing good things, and I think that's a really, really important part of the industry. Right, a lot of these people do this sort of work behind the scenes without necessarily going and shouting about it. And I think it's really important we kind of acknowledge a lot of the good work that goes into the industry, that all voluntary, all given for free, that just helps people to grow, help people through tough times. And yeah, I just think Agents Together is just a really great organisation to those that set it up, and obviously, and particularly Sarah Edmondson, who got it up and running and really gigged it on. I'm sadly no longer with it. But yeah, Vicky picking it up and running with it.
Yeah, it's great to see it relaunched.
Absolutely. All right, our second story this week is about our good friends Rightmove. Now, this is their half-year results have come through. Matt, I'm going to let you lead on this one.
So what is that, just so you don't go out on a rant?
I don't rant, I just talk.
Okay, no, sorry, I'll stop using that rant word. It's a bit like when I talk to salespeople and say patter, and they don't seem to like the fact I refer to it as the sales patter. But the main bit that jumped out at me on the Rightmove statement was the fact that the headline was that they'd taken the feedback and the digs that they've been getting, I'm not sure where that they're coming from, and actually diversifying and then moving away from just trying to get revenue and profits directly from property agents. And they'd actually called that out in their statements, and were looking at going into a commercial property, rental, prop tech, mortgage broking, all of which generated 15 million in revenue. So up 30%, so 37% year on year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I look, so again, those that know me, and perhaps if you've listened to this at least once in the past, you will know my feelings around Rightmove and its potential for, yes, monopolistic pricing. Look, I think that it would be fair to say that their march into the areas like mortgages and lettings charging, I think, is also going to mean that some agents are going to be losing out on revenues there as well. Yes, prices are going up for Rightmove year on year, but also now that they are moving into these other areas. And then mortgages, for example, back in 2023, they were very clear in their investor day in November. They said over the next 5 years, we're going to move mortgage revenues from 2 million up to 25 million by 2028. And they are well on their way, but that mortgage revenue has got to come from somewhere. And so, yeah, I do think that it speaks very much to the fact that they are now, charging agents more and also looking to generate revenue from what has historically been other areas that agents have focused on as well. So yeah, I just think it's just another indicator of their power, and something that I think we just got to be mindful of other opportunities that are going to come along. I'm going to put it that way.
I think there's a more like an alternate view as well, isn't there? Devil's advocate, as you might say,
Yeah,
which is with their acquisition of Van Milder all those years ago, Christian Balsham being within the business and his heavy, extensive knowledge of lettings. I think One of the things I saw when I went to Australia is there was a gap between the portals and the CRMs, which back then was server-based CRM, so you could only access them if you were in the office. And Australia was a lot more mobile intensive than maybe we've been up until now. And IRE came up as almost a tenant passport, so you could actually apply directly from the portals, and the applications would go through IRE. So when you're in the offices, you would then just you'd be getting fully vetted tenants ready to move in rather than having to go through that huge volume of leads.
And sorry, Matt, what's IRE?
So it's Inspect Real Estate. So it's a product. Actually, we touched on it last week. It's been rebranded now as Repeat Lettings. So it was acquired by Repeat, but it's I think it had 30,000 users in Australia, and so quite a significant product that would channel applications in. So if you were a tenant looking at multiple properties, you would be able to insert your details once, press apply, and it would take the journey straight the way through to the letting agent sitting down and having a fully vetted applicant ready to become a tenant, basically. And I think Rightmove has that opportunity with the volume of leads and the fact Christian's in there and Van Mildert's referencing as part of it to maybe actually solve a lot of letting agencies' burden with that sort of volume of leads. And I know I mention it quite on a regular basis, but our Shoreditch office, Foxton Shoreditch, in September, back when I was there, so 2010, 2011, we'll be getting 1,300 applicants a week registering. That's such a huge volume you can't come to cope with. And yeah, over 14 years later, God, that makes me feel old. And there's nothing really helping with that process, is there? So maybe with this lettings prop tech angle and the rental prop tech that they allude to, that can be something that maybe Rightmove can help its clients with.
Yeah, and look, I have often conversed about the fact that Rightmove doesn't innovate. Not ranted, remember, not ranted. And yeah, there is some innovation here, which is welcome. Obviously, there is the potential that other prop techs are trying to do this already and have been doing it for a little while, and it pushes them out of the way a little bit. But look, broadly speaking, it is nice to see that there is activity taking place. Let's put it that way in terms of innovation. So, yeah, look, again, the big worry is always the big worry, which is the more the Rightmove graciously pulls in revenue from all corners of the industry, the less some of the innovative, sparky products and services that might be coming out of the brains of entrepreneurs around and about. Yeah, it's there. It's a continuing theme, and I think it's just one we've got to keep an eye on, at least for the next 6 months. I'm not going to mention it again, although I might do. Anyway. Onwards we go to so this is a really nice story, Matt. It's from somebody that you've known, some sad circumstances, but something really powerful has come out of it. Do you just want to talk us through this your friend released posthumously?
Absolutely. So actually Christian Cox, who he's still with us. So he was the sales manager in Notting Hill back when I started in Foxton's, 2003. And Christian's written a book based on, but not directly for that caveat, around events that might have happened at that time. And Christian was one of the lively classic Foxtons. So you think of Foxtons, you think of the green and yellow, you think of the minis. Coxey was well past the minis by the time I'd started and into the supercars, but he's one of them who imbibed the culture of Foxtons. And unfortunately, one of our friends, James Clarkey, got motor neuron disease or diagnosed back in 2022. And despite a very strong fight and raising a heck of a lot of money for charity as part of it, My Name is Doddy charity, he unfortunately left us in spring of last year. And one of his comments or wishes to Coxey was go and write a book about the times that we had at Foxtons in those early years. And he's gone ahead and done it. And I only became aware of it initially because Peter Rowlands and I were out for Property Academy dinner a few months back, and he said that he'd received a copy and an advanced copy to proofread, if that's the right term, and how great it was and how interesting some of the stories were, which might be very close to the truth. And I know now that Cox has released it, it's available on Amazon. It's called Agency. And John Hunt, the founder of Foxtons, has also read it and given it the thumbs up. I've got my order in the post. I'm looking forward to reading it on my upcoming holiday and seeing how many of the stories have actually made it in there.
So this sort of warts and all kind of reveal of what it was really like working at Foxtons with you. Is that right?
Not necessarily me. Definitely working with Coxey and Clarkey and a number of those front office guys. I'm sure there'll be some interesting stories in there.
Lovely. And sorry, what's it called again?
Agency. Agency.
Excellent. Oh, listen, I'm looking forward to getting a copy of that myself, and all in a good cause as well. Brilliant. That is our property news for this week. We are now going to dive into our AI and tech news. All right. So this week we are all talking about browsers again. Now, regular listeners will have heard over the last few weeks that we've been speaking about DIA as a browser. We've been speaking about Perplexity's Comet. We believe that there's a new one coming out from OpenAI very soon in the next couple of weeks. And now Microsoft has entered the fray with its Edge browser and a co-pilot mode alongside it. Matt, have you used any of these?
I've started using the ChatGPT operator more, but not the browsers directly. I did do a cheeky post about Perplexity's Comet on the weekend in the hope I'd get boosted up the waiting list, but nothing as yet. It's even using things like ChatGPT Agent, which has obviously got a browser within it, and the AI, it starts to really open your eyes and your mind in a way, because if you think about it, you can access all your emails via the browser, you can access your CRMs mostly via the browser, and so it's not beyond the wit of man to say, go out and take for every email I've received, read the actions and update the CRM accordingly, and actually take a lot of that administrative process away from you, because those things can be done, and the browsers are incredibly intelligent, aren't they?
Amazing. And yes, so the reason for asking you about whether it's because I saw your post about the next one, so I thought you might use that one because I haven't used that one yet. But yeah, I've been using Dia, I think I might have said, and it just changes the way you interact with the internet, basically. So I am always asking, because you've got a little panel at the right-hand side. You just click on chat, and then you can ask questions about, so say I'm going into an estate agency website, I can ask how many offices it's got, and it'll just come back and tell me instead of me able to go and count them. Just little things like that that just slowly but inexorably change how you interact with the information that you're being presented with. And this again plays into what we've been speaking about a lot, which is essentially a lot of the activity that's going to be taking place online or on the internet is going to become these AI and these AI agents actually looking for stuff rather than us. And if you can get your AI on your browser to go and fetch data about which over the last 6 months go and find everybody that we've been out on valuations for but who hasn't come to market, then it can go and find that information and then bring that back to you, and then you've got your call list for the morning. So it is slowly but surely going to form what we humans are doing online and how much of this activity is actually taking place via agent and the information, the data that's coming back. And that in turn will impact on what tools we actually use within our businesses. I think it's going to be really interesting when it comes to the point, again, to your point about the CRMs. How do they charge in future? If they're charging on a seat by seat basis, and actually it's the AI that's doing a lot of the CRMing, that feels like there's a business model challenge coming along that's going to be really, really interesting to kind of solve.
Well, there's a business I worked with because I was doing some sort of use cases with ChatGPT Agent last week. Someone commented on one of the posts saying, "Oh, I can't find ChatGPT Agent." And I think they were paying for the wrong subscription level because obviously it's been rolled out. You had yours initially. I then got mine with the 20 quid a month, and then they were struggling to find where it was under tools. So it's for the paid subscribers at the moment, isn't it? ChatGPT Agent. It's there for your £20 and your £200, but it's under the tools option in the prompt box. But once you start going on that, and I'd said, go into my emails, find this, go into the CRM and update the notes. And it was, because my prompt, it was a bit janky, but you could see it using the CRM that you'd never seen before. And it was finding search bars and options and reports, and finding even options that I didn't know existed. And one of the guys that I worked with was said to me, "Yes, what's the CRM provider going to say when they discover?" And it's a case of obviously wherever the IP is coming from for ChatGPT, they'll see that and see the interactivity. But you do still need to log in, authenticate for the session, and work it through. But the one thing with this Copilot Edge, or in Copilot mode in Edge, that I found really interesting is it was Mustafa Suleyman's post, I think yesterday or Sunday, and he's the CEO of Microsoft AI. And he was saying that he doesn't even use a keyboard or mouse. He just uses voice prompts, and he speaks to Edge, and Edge goes off and does the browsing. I saw maybe a year, 18 months ago, a video he posted where he was chatting to what is now Copilot, almost like it was not a fashion designer, but like a style guide for him. And it was going through the equivalent of John Lewis and picking out outfits and then comparing it to what he should be wearing based on his body shape and skin tone and hair cuts. And you can see, almost as you just alluded to, you could say to Microsoft Edge, go out and find me my calls that I've not spoken to for 6 months where I've done evaluation, and set up the list that I can speak to. And you don't even have to open the CRM. It'll just be there for you to speak to and work through. And it means that the CRMs don't really need to evolve because all the AI is doing it for them.
Well, and so I think that it is going to be a really fascinating time for many of the sort of incumbent businesses and how they've developed over time, where they're going to focus their developments in future. I think everyone's thinking that they're doing AI to a greater or lesser extent. But yes, like you, I think it's going to become a natural way of working is to just chat with an AI that is working alongside you. And in this instance, as you say, Copilot on the Edge browser, there are going to be many other browsers available suddenly. I think that we have been, many of them working with Google Chrome for the last 15 years or whatever. And that's all up for grabs again. And if you are using something else as your gateway into the internet, let's say it's Dio or it's this Edge Copilot, or Google's now got one out as well. So Google has got gems you can work alongside it in your workspace. So actually, if you're in Sheets or you're in Google Docs, then you can set up a custom GPT essentially to do tasks, so it knows what it's supposed to be doing the second it comes on. All of those things are just going to save us a huge amount of time. I often bang on about the fact that we are going to spend so much less time, I think, in front of screens, because I think AI is going to be doing all that. And I think it's going to be amazing because we are finally going to be looking up and actually being able to chat with people. And the people that you are going to need in your businesses are the people that are good at chatting with other humans, who can build relationships, who can do the negotiation, because a lot of the administrative stuff, the kind of heavy lifting, is just going to be done by the machines. As Mustafa Solomon, we're just going to be talking to our AIs, and they're going to be going off and finding it, and they will ask us if they need any clarification, and we'll tell them, and then off they go. And so yeah, I think it's going to be hugely exciting, and I think it's going to be a good time to be, particularly say you're an estate agent, local, you've got an office on the high street, and people are going to be looking for that human contact as well. There's going to be so much AI out there. We're going to be, anything we see online is going to be, we're going to have questions about whether it is real or not, because it's going to be so lifelike. We're not going to know whether this is real or not. So I think the only thing we're going to fully trust is going to be what we see out in the real world. So I do think it's going to be, it's going to play very well into how estate agency, and lettings agents in this country have been set up over time. And I think it's going to be really good for hyper local agents who really know their stuff, really know their areas, love chatting to people, because I think that human contact is going to be privileged. Okay, so our next story in AI and tech is about Google's AI and how it can actually, we're talking about what AI can do for you. Google's AI can actually make phone calls for you now.
That's it.
Check things.
And it's already available this is a US one, is it? But could call local businesses. So it's a feature available within search even for Google. So you can go into Google search, and if you're looking for, I don't know, the example in the screenshot is about dog washers and dog. So it's a case of they can actually ring the businesses, validate opening hours, check availability. And it's using the sort of AI voice from Google to make those phone calls. And I've seen Manus allude to this on some of so Manus being the agentic AI ChatGPT equivalent from China, where it hits a bit of a roadblock on some of the work I've had it doing. It's saying, do you want me to email the business? Because these agentic AI have terminals in, don't they? So they can actually start communicating with the outside world and calling APIs and such like. But this is the next step. It's not just emailing the business and checking the opening hours or prices or availability of stock, but actually putting the call into them.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I remember it was only like sort of 2 years ago or so that the Google at their big I/O conference, they were trying to do this live on stage, and it was basically taken to pieces as being terrible and like a bit of a recording and a bit of a setup. But now it's almost like it came on so quick. Everyone's just like, yeah, okay, now I can phone people. It's fine. Of course it can. But actually, it's huge. Actually, being able to get that all done. I've spoken to a couple of people who've been on the end of those phone calls, and it's just real. They say it's really natural. You kind of feel that it's something to AI. I mean, you're just answering a question about particular stock or opening times or whatever it is. But yeah, it just saves you some time. Again, humans, and lets us go out and do our human stuff while the machines are finding out the data, the information that we want them to, or that we need to continue to do our stuff. And so yeah, I just think it's going to be an amazing time where we just aren't scrabbling around finding these little bits of data. We're just going to be running things or asking AI to run things that goes and fetches really critical information for us that just lets us get on with it. And I think it's going to be proper good. All right. Also, on the other side of the coin, slightly, AI is making sure that basically, if you rent a car, AI can see what the car was like, and then it puts it back through exactly the same kind of machine. It's like almost an MRI scanner for cars, and it will be able to check and make sure that there are no additional dents in your rental car. And the reason for kind of including this is just to make us think about, well, this is how, whether it's a tenancy, all right. If you're renting out a place, then actually you will get an AI inventory where it scans everything and knows exactly where the dents are in the door or whatever. And I think it's going to be revolutionize that side of lettings as well.
It's quite a manual process, isn't it? Even now, to going around and having to document it. And I know there's really good apps from the likes of Letting Go and Inventory Hive and Inventory Base, etc. I'm sure I've missed several of them, but it's quite a laborious process. And certainly at the start, where the tenant just wants to get moved in and they've got the vans outside ready to start lugging the luggage in, and or even worst case, they've already moved the stuff in and you're trying to capture it all. The fact that AI will be able to do it in a quick way, similar to when we're doing the sort of the floor plans and walkthroughs and photos. We bring the camera in, stick it in the middle of the room, get that quick 360 scan, being able to do that and use the, as you say, AI to take stock of it all. I think it's a really good point that because you can do it with your car, what's the use case that's appropriate to our industry?
Yeah, exactly. As you say, the likes of Snappy Draft 360, some really good tech out there already, that potentially could easily be repurposed for and it is, as you say, just such a time-consuming, dare I say it, dull process, that actually, again, here come some machines to help us out, so we can go and, I don't know, go and sit in the golf course and chat to people. Or
it's quite a stressful time of the tenancy, though, as well, right? You want to get moved in or you want to get moved out. You don't want to be stuck around with doing paperwork.
100%. All right, next up into robotics. I've got a little soft spot for the robots. And by the way, that's when the robots are in charge, just remember that, okay?
Yeah, it's been tagged, don't worry.
AI overlords, thank you. We now have robots that can recharge themselves, so they can replace their own batteries. So great news, they're never going to get tired. No, they're not going to stop. So yeah, this is out of China, and again, the robotics out in China are just off the scale, which in some ways is exciting. In some ways, you can worry about it if you want. But yes, this is China launching the world's first robot that can run by itself 24/7. It will not need to stop. It's called the Walker S2, and yeah, you can see a little video. We'll put a note in the show notes of it basically pulling the battery out of its back and then shoving a new one in, which is quite creepy and obviously had tinges of that relentlessness that we're all looking forward to. But yeah, again, it just goes to show how fast these things are moving. Not literally, but yeah, the technology is coming, and we're entering an era where pretty much, not everything, but everything we don't want to do is likely to be able to be automated somewhere along the line.
Have you ordered a robot yet?
Do you know what, the Hugging Face one that has got $299. I was speaking with our CTO and trying to get him. It's programmable, so it sits on your desk. It's very cute. I can't remember what it's called, but it's from Hugging Face. $299, and yeah, and you can have it sat on your desk, but it's programmable. I'm not a programmer, so I would just sit and look at it, and it'll be about as useful as my desk lamp. But yes, so our CTO is having a look at it and looking at whether he can get one, because it just looks really cute and really fun. So the answer is no, not yet. But as soon as one becomes available that even a dimbo like me can program, then yeah, I'm all over that. Absolutely. What about you? You thought about?
No, I just harked back to I did my university dissertation. I built a robot and got it playing football. It was a long time ago and pretty crude, so I've not gone near that for 23 years or so.
Okay, I look forward to seeing it. Well, yeah, give it a couple of weeks, something like that. I'm sure we'll be back on it again. All right, our next story in our tech and AI news is about OpenAI's ChatGPT 5. Now, we are currently on various GPT-4. And GPT-4 came out, I think it was April 23. Loads and loads of variations of GPT-4 since then. It is obviously an amazing system, but I am very excited about ChatGPT 5 coming out, because I think it's going to
just keep getting teased, don't we? And Sam Altman even teased it this week. He didn't say banger, but he was on another podcast and telling us how amazing it was and how it's more intelligent than he was, and explaining how he'd utilized it. But it's not here yet, though, is it, Matt?
And yeah, he did. I think his first kind of shot across the bows, and like a couple of months back, was he called this a hot AI summer. Looking forward to basically getting our hands on it. The rumors are that, first of all, that it was going to be a unified system. So essentially, you would just type in a Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro, where you just type in a prompt and it works out whether it's going to go down the reasoning model, which again regular listeners will know is the hard thinking one. It actually checks its work. It spends time going over and over what its output's going to be, or the kind of really quick hit generative answer which is really fast. But then I heard this week that actually it's probably still going to be one of these kind of hybrids where actually you have to select which model you want it to do. Do you want it to do some reasoning, or do you want it just to come back with quick answers? But whatever it is, as you say, Sam Altman, the chief executive of OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT, has been, yes, hard hyping what's coming down the track. It's going to be amazing in all sorts of different modalities as well, for speech, for video, for text. I'm quite excited about Sora, which is their video model. Google's VO3 is incredible, and basically adds audio to the videos too at the moment, and it's just incredible. It's so good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, what OpenAI's answer is to that as well. Cool. All right, that is our tech news for this week. We are going to dive quickly into our tool of the week. All right, so this week we're going to just have a quick chat about Bee. So this is back in the news. It's called Bee, B-E-E. It's been acquired by Amazon. It's an AI wearable that is a little wrist strap, or you can put it on your iPhone, your iWatch, Apple Watch. And it basically listens to everything that's going on around you and attempts to make sense of it. Have you tried any of these, Matt, these wearables that kind of listen to everything?
I'm waiting for Johnny Ive to turn up.
Yeah.
I don't know, 'cause I saw this one. It was quite a low price point as well, isn't it, for B? It's like 50, 60 quid.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure in a time where people are getting aqua hired for the values get bigger and bigger, aren't they? So I mentioned of 1 billion for someone this week. I wasn't quite sure whether they were doing this for the staff or whether it was a case of they're actually bringing in the technology. But I saw someone who had the rabbit, and I wasn't too sure about that. And then obviously the humane pin was an interesting concept. But I think I'm just going to hang on for Johnny Ive. What about yourself?
Waiting for the big guy. So I actually tried this. So this came out, I think, probably about 8 months ago, something like that. It's
Right.
BEE. I think it's BEE.app. .app if you wanted to go and find it. But yeah, so I actually tried it. So I had it on my watch. First of all, it absolutely crucifies your battery. So you have to charge your battery about 1 million times during the day. But it is quite interesting. What it's trying to do is pick up conversations around you. So first of all, kids, make sure you're telling people that you're recording if you are recording. Very important. Secondarily, it struggles. Okay, it struggles to understand what is foreground, what is background conversations, who's talking when, all that sort of stuff. So I think it's an interesting sort of prototype more than anything else. It is, as you say, going to become much more mainstream once Johnny Ive and Sam Altman get their device out there, which the most recent rumor is that it's a pen of some description that, again, will record and listen to all the things that are happening. Obviously, Meta's got the glasses, the Ray-Bans that Mark Zuckerberg wears all the time now. Apparently has a little red light to show that it's recording you and stuff like that. So a lot of these things coming. Do have a little look at B. I think it's interesting. And as you say, whether Amazon is just actually after the tech or actually after the people, we'll see as that plays out. But yeah, obviously there's Alexa in Amazon, which if that starts to record everything that people are saying around the family, around the house and stuff like that, then that's going to give a really good insight into, for example, when you come to move house, it will know already who's moving in, who's moving out, how many babies you've got, what's happening in your house.
They're listening to all that already. You look at the adverts that get pushed at you, it's like they're picking up on that stuff already, aren't they?
100%. Yeah, don't mention something you don't want an advert for.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to mention toaster right now and see how many toasters I get advertised in the next sort of day or so.
You might assume that you're going to Toaster as part of your tour.
That's very good. Very good. And not Toaster. Go to Northampton, actually, this very morning, which is why we're so early on this. Have a little look at that AI tool. Again, just to get yourself familiar with what's happening, what's coming down the track. But again, always make sure that people around, if you are recording them, this is a public service announcement. All right. Lastly, we just wanted to take a very quick detour into our Weird AI of the Week. All right, Weird AI of the Week. An Indian film company is re-releasing a film this week with a different ending. So it's a romantic drama. It's got two leads. One, and again, it's an Indian film, a Bollywood film. It's a Hindu and a Sikh couple who, from across the divide. And apparently at the end is tragic where one of them actually dies. So this Indian film company is using AI to recreate the ending to make it happy. So that there is a peaceful denouement to that. The actual writer is absolutely outraged that this is happening. The book that it's based on, author absolutely outraged that this is happening, but apparently they can't do anything because the film company owned the rights to the actual film itself. So yeah, no, just think it's interesting. It's a little bit weird. Matt, is there any particular film that you would want to see the ending changed for?
I think it's probably not one AI can help with, but for years growing up, I didn't realize at the end of the Goonies, the ship actually sailed out of the cave because Dad or Anders or someone had recorded over that actual ending with maybe it's Match of the Day. It could easily been me, I guess, if it was that. Or alternatively, maybe my girl. Don't want to see Macaulay Culkin die from those bee stings. Spoiler alert, I think the film's 20 odd years old, 30 years old. But if you've not seen it, Mal.
So I haven't actually seen it, so sorry if that's just ruined the film for you. If you were saving it to watch it tonight, yes, no, yeah, I just think it's a really, who owns this stuff now?
What about you? What would your different film be?
That is a very good question, and actually having asked you the question, I haven't actually thought about what mine would be.
What about Sixth Sense? He doesn't see dead people.
He just does a song and dance number at the end, and then it's all good. Everything's fine. No, so when I think about the great film, I don't know, would you change the end of Reservoir Dogs, for example? So actually, yeah, they were caught and they didn't all die. I think it's a slippery slope. I hope that it doesn't lead to, we've got so many like franchises right now, so many reboots and all that sort of stuff, remakes. I think, are they remaking The Goonies, actually? As you mentioned it, I think there might be there was talk of that sort of stuff. So yeah, so
now that we've mentioned it, they'll be thinking that's mass entertainment. People talking about it. We need to do a reboot.
100%. The millions of people listening to this will be now primed for some Goonie action. Plus, of course, we're now going to get loads of adverts for Goonies and AI.
Goonies merch.
But yeah, no. So I think again, it's happening fast. There are all sorts of different ways that people are using AI to transform various media, but yes, I do hope that all of our old favourites. I know, Matt, you're a big fan of The Wizard of Oz. Hopefully they won't touch that for you.
No, hopefully, and leave Wicked as it is.
Exactly right. All right, listen, that is us for this week's Property AI report. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back next week. Hopefully, maybe not quite so early, with all of this week's activity in the property and AI spheres. Thank you, Matt. Good to catch up.
Yeah, have a safe journey to Northampton, Mal. Always good to see you.
Thanks very much. Likewise. We will catch up with everybody else as well next week. Thanks for listening. See you soon.
Have a great week, everyone.